Peace, peace. What's happening, everyone? Um, yeah, man, I just felt the urge to go live today. It's New Year's Eve. Wanted to ring in the new year by declaring war.
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office in foreign policy matters with war on my mind.
We have a rocket launcher. They are my rocket. We have a rocket. We have a rocket, the rocket launcher. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of it. Bombing. Boys, I've been bombing. Storming Norman's armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from 'em? Yup, we're gonna dumb 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on 'em. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on 'em. Yup, we're gonna run 'em. Nagasaki son 'em. Atomically bomb 'em. And take Saki from 'em. Yup, we're gonna dun 'em. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam, Hamas that ass, you can feel us coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israelis 7 days a week, cause rarely do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them, war games, push pawns on them to die, while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs of how bad I wanna crush and bomb them. And bomb them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN for the dead coverage.
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office in foreign policy matters with war on my mind.
We have a rocket launcher. They are my rocket. We have a rocket. We have a rocket, the rocket launcher. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing. Storming Norman's armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from 'em? Yup, we're gonna dumb 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on 'em. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on 'em. Yup, we're gonna run 'em. Nagasaki son 'em. Atomically bomb 'em. And take Saki from 'em. Yup, we're gonna dun 'em. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam, Hamas that ass, you can feel us coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israelis 7 days a week, cause rarely do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them, war games, push pawns on them to die, while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs of how bad I wanna crush and bomb them. And bomb them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN for the dead coverage of me bombing them. A star-spangled harming in the peace. We'll have peace after I'm done bombing. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? we are go rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. Whoa. We are go rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are go rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, whoa, we have a rocket. Hey, we are go rocket, the rocket launcher. We are at war. We are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. We are at war, and I got the score to show. Hey, look, y'all, it's psychological like apocalypse, y'all. It's the rise and the fall of man. It was orchestrated by his own hand, and damn, time to build up Noah's Ark again to withstand the fire next time we burn the land. And my rocket launcher goes bang, and just a few years ago you was my man. And we shot Russians together. Now discussions are just like whatever, yeah, whatever. Cause we could declare war is over, but still keep bringing home more dead soldiers. When peace is wartime, ceases our kind to live on this planet. Just one hot granite in space, with intimations of a human race at war with itself that caused it itself when...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blessings. Peace to everyone. Yeah. So, we are at war. It's the FBA tether war. Um, and, hang on. Yeah, it's a work in progress. We're still getting there. You got to bear with me through the technicalities. Um, but there's a lot going on in these YouTube streets. And the start of the new year, I think it's a good time for me to put my voice out there. And just, give my opinion on a few things. And the main thing that I think should be first understood is, just exactly what a tether is, and FBA. FBA are foundational Black Americans who trace their lineage to slavery in America, who have slave ancestors here in America and not anywhere else. Or at least I think they don't count anywhere else. And then a tether is anyone that's an immigrant, either from Africa or the Caribbean, mainly Black immigrants that come to America on what they feel is on their backs, on their fight for, freedom in America and their fight for civil rights. And they feel that immigrants come here and take advantage of those things. And not just that, it would be okay if it was just that, but they feel that these immigrants that do come here, they're particularly speaking to immigrants who they feel once they're here and take advantage of what FBA has achieved for them, they then turn around and do things like not support FBA claims for reparations, which is, and I think it can all be summarized around that. That's their main thing, or that's what a tether is someone who undermines the FBA's claim for reparations. People may, disagree and say, it's more than just reparations, but I think reparations is the foundation on which the whole FBA ideology is built around. So that's where we're at with it. And as a tether myself, because I do think that I fit that category. I am an immigrant who came here, became an American citizen, and I don't support the idea of reparations, whether it's here in America or in Jamaica. I just don't support that idea, but that's something for a different show, I think, or a different discussion. But but my concern, and the reason why I say that, we are at war, and this is intellectual war, if you will. But the reason that I say that is because I'm challenging this idea that it was on the backs of of FBA, it was on the backs of FBA that Caribbean and African immigrants got to come here. And and that we are just kind of leeching off of FBA's accomplishments here and then undermining them. So I'm absolutely going to challenge that. And the reason I'm challenging it is because, I feel that they're not taking into consideration what FBA has gotten off of the backs of Caribbean and African immigrants, or Caribbean and African people in general. What about what FBA owes to the Caribbean and to Africa? This is not just a one-sided, it's not just a give thing happening, it's a give and take. And I think FBA just seems to think that they're the only ones just giving, and there's nothing coming back their way. So that's what I hope to talk about today. And I think, and that's where the discussion is going to be. And, and again, that's why I say we are at war. I want to give a shout out to my brother Sunchild once again for, allowing me to play this song. We Are at War. It is such an appropriate song. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to take a minute to just let it rock for a little bit while I set myself up and get ready. So check it out.
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office in foreign policy matters with war on my mind.
We are the rocket launcher. They are my rocket. We are my rocket. We are go rocket, the rocket launchers. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing, storming, norming, zombies coming to Saddam. Gomorrah and Saddam, show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from them? Yup, we're gonna dumb them. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb them, release Martin Lockheed on them. What beautiful ballistics, try not to bleed on them. Yup, we're gonna run them. Nagasaki son them, atomically bomb them, and take Saki from them. Yup, we're gonna dun them. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you, we are at war. We are at with ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam, a mass that ass. You can feel us coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israelis 7 days a week. Cause rarely do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them. War games, push pawns on them to die, while the nights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs of how bad I wanna crush and bomb them. Embalm them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN. For the dead coverage of me bombing them. A star-spangled harmony in the peace. We'll have peace after I'm done bombing. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. Whoa. We are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. Whoa. We have a rocket. Hey. We are go rocket. The rocket launchers. We are at war. We are at war. With ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at war. With ourselves. With ourselves.
Yeah, man. So, you know, let's continue with this war with ourselves. So the question I asked, you know, I did like some really intensive research for this. I went to Chat GPT. And you know, the question asked was, did the Caribbean influence the abolitionist movement in America? Did the Caribbean influence the abolitionist movement in America? That's the question asked to Chat GPT. And I just want to you know, go through what Chat GPT said. Because I think it's really telling. So it says, yes, the Caribbean significantly influenced the abolitionist movement in America. Several factors connected to the Caribbean played a role in shaping American abolitionism. Number one, so let me just reiterate. It says the Caribbean significantly influenced America's abolition movement. You know, and that's important. That it's not just a small role; it's a significant role that the Caribbean played in fighting against slavery. So, and here are the factors that it points to. It says number one, revolts and resistance in the Caribbean, the Haitian Revolution from 1791 to 1804. The successful slave revolt in Saint Dominique, now Haiti, was a pivotal moment. It demonstrated that enslaved people could overthrow a brutal system, inspiring abolitionists and striking fear into slaveholders. Right, and let me read that again. So it's the Haitian Revolution, and it says it demonstrated that enslaved people could overthrow a brutal system. Right, it demonstrated that to them. It, like, that's what they look to see that this can actually be done, and it inspired abolitionists and struck fear into slaveholders. So, and that's really important. Haitians' independence became a powerful symbol of freedom and resistance. So what happened in Haiti was a symbol of freedom and resistance for slaves in America, for slaves and abolitionists in America. So that's one, the Haitian Revolution. Number two, other rebellions in Jamaica, Barbados, and other Caribbean colonies highlighted the brutality of slavery and the determination of the enslaved to resist oppression. So there were revolts and rebellions going on all over the Caribbean, you know, which highlighted, which they say highlighted just the savagery and the brutality of slavery, which then spread into the Americas and into England and Europe. And that's where they started to see just how brutal slavery was, and which kind of triggered the abolition movement, if not strengthened it. Not just strengthened it, it may have even triggered it. The next piece spoken about is the British abolition and the Caribbean. So the first one are the revolts in the Caribbean, and then there are British abolition and the Caribbean. The British Empire, this is what ChatGPT says. It says the British Empire abolished slavery in 1833, largely due to abolitionist efforts supported by resistance in its Caribbean colonies. And, you know, keep in mind, 1833, that's before 1865. Which is when I believe slaves in America were emancipated, 1865. So that's decades before. So people in the Caribbean earned their freedom decades before slaves in the Americas, um, and their freedom was due, it says, largely because of abolitionist efforts, which were supported by resistance in those Caribbean colonies. So there would be no abolition. The abolition movement would not have been successful had it not been for those resistance movements in the Caribbean, the rebellions that were going on. And it says this provided a model for American abolitionists and strengthened their arguments against slavery in the US. So it actually was the model that American abolitionists used to start their movement. What happened in the Caribbean was their model. And so, you know, when FBA try to speak as if it's just them doing for immigrants, you know, you really have to rethink that. The American abolitionists and the American rebels were looking to the Caribbean, looking at the Caribbean and copying what was going on to the Caribbean. So it can be stated that they got their urge to fight. The American abolitionists and the American rebels, slave rebels that led those rebellions, got their urge to fight by looking to the Caribbean. And it was a great inspiration. So y'all took your inspiration from us, but for some reason, all y'all want to focus on is what the Caribbean is taken from y'all. You may want to look a little deeper into history to see really what our true connection is. It also goes on to say the emancipation of enslaved people in British colonies shows that ending slavery was economically and socially possible, countering pro-slavery claims in America. And that's really deep. You know what I'm saying? It says that what happened in those British colonies in the Caribbean showed that ending slavery was even possible, both economically and socially, right? And that's what was used to counter pro-slavery claims in America. Because in America, they were being taught that, you know, rebellion wasn't possible at all. It was too much. You'll never win. But because of what happened in the Caribbean, that's when they even knew that this was even possible, or that's what made it known to them that this was possible. That's what strengthened that's what gave them the strength to say, we're going to do this and we're going to win. You know, so that's, you know, FBA really needs to reconsider what they're talking about. It's not just a give thing here. You've gotten more from the Caribbean. You know, this may be worth more than what you're talking about. And we may see that once we continue. But let's just continue. Next thing ChatGPT mentions is the Caribbean abolitionists and intellectual influence. It says Caribbean thinkers, writers, and activists contributed to the transatlantic abolitionist movement. Figures like Olada Equiano, I think he also went by Gustavo Bassa, who wrote about his experiences as an enslaved person, influenced public opinion on both sides of the Atlantic. And Equiano was from Nigeria. He was a Nigerian, and he was an abolitionist. And, you know, he also was very influential among abolitionist movements in the Caribbean and in Europe, as well as America. You know, and not just him. Like, you know, I think he was down with a crew called the Sons of Africa, and they played a great deal. And you know, he lived. If I'm not mistaken, he may have lived even before the abolition movement in the Caribbean started. I think he was one of those ones that can be said to have influenced it a great deal as well. So, put some respect on Africans, on the Africans' name as well, because again, these are Nigerians that taught us how to be abolitionists and how to fight against these things. And if not taught us, at least they were there helping out and being very influential. Um, um, it says the stories of Caribbean abolition and emancipation were widely circulated in American abolitionist literature. So this, what was going on in the Caribbean, um, and also with Equiano, was all over the literature that was being spread in America, in order to build up that abolition movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally, the Caribbean literally, um, influenced, and really shook up the Americans to make them realize that this is possible. Um, and again, like, just how important that is, I think just cannot be understated or overstated. Trade and communication. It's going to be just a couple more. The interconnectedness of the Atlantic world meant that ideas, news, and abolitionist materials traveled between the Caribbean and the U.S. This flow of information helped spread anti-slavery sentiment, which is just a reiteration of just saying, just information going back and forth is what was happening. This was not just FBA looking out for everybody, doing everything by themselves. There was actually a time when y'all were just doing what y'all were just taking seriously, but you don't hear us talking about, listen, we taught you how to fight. You know what I'm saying? We taught you how to fight against slavery. If it wasn't for what was going on in the Caribbean, if it wasn't for what was going on in the Caribbean, you may still be enslaved. We taught you how to fight. And that's taking a lot more than whatever you claim that Caribbeans are taking from you. You may want to say thank you at some point, because again, we taught you how to fight against abolitionists. I'm sorry, not against abolitionists. We taught you how to be abolitionists. We taught you how to be rebellious. We taught you how to revolt. You look to us for those things. We taught you that it was possible to win. We taught you that. Caribbeans taught you that. So please, again, when you start downplaying and start thinking you're more important than anyone else, you really need to revisit history. American Also, just to continue with Chat GPT, economic and social comparisons. American abolitionists often pointed to the Caribbean to argue that societies could transition away from slavery without total economic collapse, challenging the entrenched economic interest in the US. So again, abolitionists in the Caribbean pointed to abolitionists in America pointed to the Caribbean to argue that societies could actually move away from slavery without economic collapse. They taught you, they showed you that. If it wasn't for that, you would probably still be enslaved. Say thank you, maybe. Maybe. In these ways, the Caribbean served as both a practical and symbolic influence on the American abolitionist movement. Right? That's the last statement that ChatGPT puts up. And what I want to point out is what it says is that it served as both a practical and a symbolic influence. So this wasn't just symbolic, right? It wasn't just, oh, they looked to Haiti and Jamaica and Barbados. They looked at what was going on as a symbol and then decided that they could do it. No, it was also, they had practical influence, which means that there were Caribbean people who were actually involved in those abolitionist movement, because freedom came in the Caribbean decades before in the Americas. And, a lot of Caribbean people who were migrating to the Americas to also help with those abolitionist movements, migrating into Europe to help those abolitionist movements, writing in their newspapers. So again, this was actually hands-on. That's what it means when it says it's practical. It's not just symbolic. It's both a practical influence and symbolic. So, we can have this fight. It's really a shame that we have to have this fight, but I think the fight is good, for us to really remind each other of who we are and where we stand. Caribbean people are not just here leeching off of what you've gotten, from fighting for what you fought for. Caribbean immigrants, Caribbean people taught you how to fight. They taught you that you could actually fight. They taught you that you could actually fight and win. Then they taught you how to fight. They taught you that you could fight and win, taught you that you could fight, and then taught you how to fight, right? And not only did they teach you how to fight, they fought alongside you. And now it's, oh, you're just leeching? Really? Really? That's interesting. And it's the same with civil rights. I do want to talk about civil rights as well, the Caribbean um, influence on civil rights in America, because I also want to highlight that this was not just a one-way traffic where it was FBA doing stuff and getting stuff and allowing immigrants. It wasn't like that, and y'all really need to stop. It's a shame that y'all are doing this, but if it's a war you want, it's a war you're gonna get. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
a war president. I make decisions
And
here in the
so,
Oval Office,
I'm gonna let this song ride
inform
out a little bit,
policymakers
and
with
I'm gonna
war
take a
on my
little
mind.
break, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll talk a little bit about civil rights. But we're at war.
We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing. Storming Norman's armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from 'em? Yup, we're gonna dome 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on 'em. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on 'em. Yup, we're gonna run 'em. Nagasaki son 'em. Atomically bomb 'em. And take Saki from 'em. Yup, we're gonna done 'em. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam 'em. Amass that ass. You can feel us coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon. Is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israeli 7 days a week, cause rarely do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bomb 'em. World War III on them. War games, push pawns on them to die, while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs of how battle on the crush and bomb them. Embalm them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN. For the dead coverage of me bombing them. A star-spangled harmony in the peace. We'll have peace after I'm done bombing.
Them have a rocket, hey. We have a rocket.
What?
We are go rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket,
Hey.
We have a rocket.
Whoa.
We are go rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket,
Hey.
We have a rocket.
What?
We are go rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket,
Whoa.
We have a rocket.
Hey.
We are go rocket, the rocket launcher.
We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves.
Yeah, we certainly are at war with ourselves. But we didn't bring this war down. It ain't on Caribbean people. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a war, you want war. If I war, then I what? War. All right. So the next question I asked Chat GPT, did Caribbean people fight for civil rights in America? And I'm sure everybody knows the answer to that. I probably didn't even need to ask Chat GPT. Um, but so again, the question was, did Caribbean people fight for civil rights in America? And the answer, yes. People of Caribbean descent have played a significant role in the fight for civil rights in America. A significant role. Significant. Their contributions span multiple eras and encompass activism, leadership, and cultural influence. You read that again. Their contributions span multiple eras and encompass activism, leadership, and cultural influence. Here are some key examples of Caribbean involvement in the U.S. civil rights struggle. 1. Early activists of Caribbean descent. Marcus Garvey, Jamaica. Garvey, born in Jamaica, founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association in 1914 and became a key figure in the Pan-Africanist and Black empowerment movements in America. You cannot talk Pan-Africanism without bringing up Marcus. It's impossible. You cannot do it. Any Pan-Africanist that does not have respect for Marcus is no true Pan-Africanist. Marcus Garvey should be the symbol of Pan-Africanism, and he's a Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? It looks as if Jamaicans are to Pan-Africanism what Jamaicans are to hip hop. You see what I'm saying? There's a pattern going on there. You know what I'm saying? It's no coincidence. Um, but back to Garvey, it says his back to Africa philosophy influenced later civil rights leaders, including Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And Malcolm and Martin are would have to be are the darlings of FBA. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of which side of the FBA coin you're looking at, whether you're talking about the Black Power side of FBA or the civil rights and integrationist side of FBA, Malcolm and Martin are your standards, and they were influenced by Marcus. His philosophy is what it says. Helped to influence them. Um, you know, Cyril Briggs, another Caribbean from Nevis, founder of the African Blood Brotherhood, a radical organization in the early 20th century. Briggs worked to address racial inequality and promote socialism as a pathway to Black liberation. Again, there's Pan-Africanism, I believe, and even the Black Power movement. Socialism is tied into both of those um, um, in a big way. And here again, we have another Caribbean person who's also influencing civil rights in that way. Um, Other key figures in civil rights movement: Malcolm X, who is of Grenadian ancestry. Although born in the U.S., Malcolm X's mother, Louise Little, was from Grenada. Malcolm X's advocacy for Black nationalism, self-determination, and human rights deeply shaped the civil rights movement. So, if this was really a war, you can't have Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm would qualify as a tether in your eyes, because Malcolm is of Caribbean ancestry, right? And he was undermining FBA because he was undermining Martin Luther King and his movement. So really and truly, you can't have Malcolm. We want Malcolm back, all right? If it's gonna go like that, so you can't have him. Malcolm is ours. How you like me now? How you like that? We are at war. All right. So it goes from Malcolm. Next it goes to Harry Belafonte. Um, the iconic singer and actor was a close confidant of Martin Luther King Jr. and a significant financial supporter of the civil rights movement. A significant financial supporter. Harry Belafonte, another Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? He was giving y'all, this is Jamaican money. He instead of sending his money back to Jamaica, he was giving it to the civil rights movement. You know what? Did y'all say thanks to Harry yet? Or y'all still, oh, immigrants, they're just taking our stuff. We want our welfare. Yeah, no, 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 it's our reparation. Yo, oh, y'all really sound silly, bro. Y'all are doing this over free money. And that's really shameful. Um, but Martin Luther King, he used his celebrity status to fundraise and bring global attention to the struggle for racial equality. I'm sorry, not Martin Luther King. Harry Belafonte used his celebrity status to fundraise and bring global attention to the struggle for racial equality. And again, he was a significant financial supporter. Y'all should remember that. Stokely Carmichael from Trinidad. Carmichael, later Kwame Ture, was a leader in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, and a prominent figure in the Black Power movement. There is no Black Power movement without Kwame Ture. As certainly as Marcus can be the symbol of Pan-Africanism, Kwame Ture is the symbol of Black Power. Like, those are facts. And both of these people are Caribbean. Are you kidding me? And y'all are here talking about how we're just taking. Like, that's really, like, that makes y'all look like really ungrateful, like just real ingrates. And it really is, it's really sad that you really have to be reminded of who you are and who we are. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Who raise emphasis on self-determination and pride in African heritage inspired many. And who's gonna question that? So next it goes into speaking about grassroots activism and labor movements. It says many Caribbean immigrants participated in labor movements that intersected with civil rights, particularly in the urban centers like New York, Miami, and Chicago. They worked to address housing discrimination, worker exploitation, and segregation. So all you talk about, oh, you immigrants come here, take advantage of civil rights that we want. It wasn't just you, bro. You need to really sit down and just calm down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I know you mad about some things, but sit down. You're doing too much. It wasn't just you. Let me say it again. Many Caribbean immigrants participated in labor movements that intersected with civil rights, particularly in urban centers like New York, Miami, and Chicago. They worked to address housing discrimination, worker exploitation, and segregation. There is no aspect of civil rights that Caribbean people were not involved with. You know what I'm saying? And if Caribbean people won rights in America because of civil rights, if immigrant Caribbean people got to come here off of the backs of the civil rights movement, it's off of the backs of those Caribbean people that worked in that civil rights movement, not necessarily just y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't put us in the position where we're gonna say y'all had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Because we want to respect each other. But stop saying we're just leeching off of y'all. You're being disrespectful to the people that were there with y'all. Remember, keep in mind, we didn't just teach you how to fight. We taught you that you could fight. And then after that, we fought along with you. We taught you that you could fight and win. We taught you that you could fight and win. Then we taught you how to fight. Then we fought alongside you. And then y'all want to call us leeches? Check yourselves. Really, really, like, check yourselves. Cultural and intellectual contributions. Caribbean intellectuals like Claude McKay, Jamaican, a key figure in Harlem Renaissance, used poetry and literature to confront racism and celebrate Black identity. You can't even talk about Harlem Renaissance without the Bronx, and Harlem was a haven for Caribbean people. There's no Harlem Renaissance. There's none of that without mentioning Caribbean people. Y'all are bugging. Caribbean communities in cities like New York, example Harlem and Brooklyn, and the Bronx, provided vibrant cultural and intellectual hubs that supported civil rights activism. You know what I mean? So, I think that just has to speak for itself. There is no civil rights movement without mentioning Caribbean people. You can't do it. And why would you even want to try to do it? Influence on modern movements. Today, Caribbean Americans continue to contribute to racial justice movements. Figures like Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, Barbadian and Guyanese descent, became trailblazers as she was the first Black woman elected to Congress and ran for president in 1972. The first Black woman elected to Congress and the first Black woman to run for president was a Caribbean woman. Are y'all kidding me? Are y'all kidding me? Eh? We just had Kamala the other day. She's a Jamaican also, running for president. You know what I'm saying? Barack was, they call Barack the first Black president, but we all know what Barack was not. You know what Barack was not? FBA. Barack was not FBA. Y'all need to stop that for one. You know what I'm saying? But let me not get distracted. The first Black woman to run for president and the first Black woman elected to Congress was a Caribbean, Shirley Chisholm. Put some respect on it. Caribbean immigrants and their descendants have long been integral to the civil rights struggle in America, blending their unique histories of resistance and anti-colonial activism with the broader fight against racism and inequality in the United States. What else does ChatGPT need to say to y'all? You know what I'm saying? What else? Y'all need to really and over what? Over who? Tariq Nasheed? This is your king? This is your king? Tariq Nasheed? You're gonna sacrifice the works of Shirley. You're gonna sacrifice Shirley Chisholm. You're gonna sacrifice Claude McKay. You're gonna sacrifice Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Martin Luther King Jr. You're gonna sacrifice Harry Belafonte. You're gonna sacrifice Marcus Garvey. For who? Tariq Nasheed. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all need to check yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Come on. We need to get back to being brothers and sisters. It's only going to be to your disadvantage if we don't. History is not on your side. History is not with you. You're being ignorant when it comes to this. And you know what I mean? You need to be told that you're being ignorant. Take it from the American dream. You know what I'm saying? That's real. You're being ignorant when it comes to this, and you're doing more of a disservice to your people than anything else. Why all this division over free money, dog? Over money? If that's not, and then you want to switch up what lineage means just for money? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But we're like them Caribbeans that fought in those rebellions, that taught you that we could fight and win. We know we can fight this and win. You know what I'm saying? We know we can fight this and win. We know you're gonna lose this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So if I war, then I war. War.
Got the scar to show. Hey, look, y'all, it's psychological, like apocalypse, y'all. It's the rise and the fall of man. It was orchestrated by his own hand, and damn, time to build up Noah's Ark again to withstand the fire next time we burn the land. And my rocket launcher goes bang, and just a few years ago, you was my man. And we shot Russians together. Now discussions are just like whatever, yeah, whatever. Cause we could declare war is over, but still keep bringing home more dead soldiers. When peace is wartime, ceases our kind to live on this planet. Just one hot granite in space, with intimations of a human race at war with itself that costed itself when...
Yeah. So that's about what I wanted to talk about. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's the New Year's Eve. The new year is upon us. Indeed, the new year is upon us. And I'm hoping we can, start the new year on a new page. Maybe, we can declare peace. Hopefully we'll see somebody drop a video declaring peace, waving that white flag. You know what I mean? Because y'all can't win this war. You cannot. You know what I mean? It's a new year, and we here. So, you know what I mean? What I'm gonna I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop this StreamYard link in the chat. If anybody wants to come up and say something. I'm not planning on staying much longer, but you know what I mean? I'm gonna drop that in the chat if you want to come in. But I'm gonna let this song rock while you come in. Word up.
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office in foreign policy matters with war on my mind.
We have a rocket launcher. They have a rocket. We have a rocket. We have a rocket. The rocket launchers. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing, storming Normans, armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from 'em? Yup, we're gonna dumb 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution, so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on 'em. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on 'em. Yup, we're gonna run 'em. Nagasaki son 'em. Atomically bomb 'em. And take Saki from 'em. Yup, we're gonna dun 'em. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves.
Yeah, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat if you want to come in and chat. Holla at your boy.
Radical Islam, a mask that ass, you can feel us coming. With suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israeli 7 days a week, cause rarely do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them, war games, push pawns on them to die, while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end, I'm drumming love battle songs of how battle on the crush and bomb them. Embalm them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN for the dead coverage of me bombing them. A suspect.
Hey, what it do, Sunchild? Peace to you, my brother. We are at war. You done know. One love, my brother. Shout outs to you.
we are gonna rocket the rocket launchers. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. And I got the scar to show. Hey, look, y'all, it's psychological like apocalypse, y'all. It's the rise and the fall of man. It was orchestrated by his own hand. And damn, time to build up Noah's Ark again to withstand the fire next time we burn the land. And my rocket launcher goes bang. And just a few years ago, you was my man. And we shot Russians together. Now discussions are just like whatever, yeah, whatever. Cause we could declare war is over, but still keep bringing home more dead soldiers. When peace is wartime, ceases our kind to live on this planet. Just one hot granite in space, with intimations of a human race at war with itself that costed itself when...
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office in foreign policy matters with war on my mind.
All right, peoples. Yeah, ain't nobody trying to come in. They don't want that war. So, you know, I'm gonna close out. It is getting on to be about an hour. So I'm just gonna close this out. Thanks for stopping by. For those that did stop by, you done know. See the peace or war, you know what I mean? It's their decision. But either way, we ready. Blessings to y'all.
I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing. Storming Norman's armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from 'em? Yup, we're gonna dumb 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on 'em. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on 'em. Yup, we're gonna run 'em. Nagasaki son 'em. Atomically bomb 'em. And take Saki from 'em. Yup, we're gonna done 'em. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam, a mass that ass. You can feel us coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israelis 7 days a week, cause rarely do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them, war games, push pawns on them to die, while the nights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs of how bad I wanna crush and bomb them. Embalm them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN. For the dead coverage of me bombing them. A star-spangled harmony in the peace. We'll have peace after I'm done bombing. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are gonna rocket the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. Whoa. We are gonna rocket the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are gonna rocket the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. Whoa. We have a rocket, hey, we are gonna rocket the rocket launchers. We are at war.